So today, I have chosen to teach you about philosophy. I will be reviewing the 3 conditions that make an argument good. Now, before I do that, why don't we reiterate our goal? So our goal is to not make beliefs willy-nilly, or to settle on those which make us happy or comfortable, or simply to accept those urged by our parents. Our goal is to form beliefs about these issues which are true, that we can't be in a position of being criticized for our beliefs. So, in that sense, I'm going to take you to my little diagram. Before getting into arguments, we'll lead into it by reviewing some background information. To form proper arguments, we must look at the key to thinking critically. You first must have an open mind and a critical mind. Philosophers use the term justified as a catch-all term for a belief which is not subject to criticism. In other words, it's a belief that is in accordance with reasons and evidence. A belief that is not irrational, without reason, or stupid. Now the question is, how do we form a belief, and what is the subject of that belief? The simple answer is through good reasoning, and thus by making good inferences. Now looking at arguments, we ask the question, what makes them good? Well, we have to look at the nature of arguments. In philosophy, the structure of arguments are typically written like this, with premises that lead to a conclusion. Now, let's go back to what makes a good argument. Well, the premises together give good reasons to believe in its conclusion. So, there are 3 conditions an argument must meet to be good. The first condition is that the premises must support the conclusion, and this can be done in 2 ways. First, the argument must be valid, which means that the truth of the premises guarantees the truth of the conclusion, or in other words, they logically entail the conclusion. For example, if grass is green, then roses are purple. Grass is green, then the conclusion is that roses must be purple. But in reality, roses aren't purple. But it's still a valid argument, because in this specific situation, they're saying that green grass is equivalent to roses that are purple, and thus, if grass is green, then roses are purple. Even though it's not true in real life, it's still valid. The second way the premise can support the conclusion is through cogency. The truth of the premises would make the truth of the conclusion probable. For example, 95% of faculty eat at the BRC. Kelly is a faculty member, so in conclusion, Kelly must eat at the BRC. The conclusion is probable. It's possible that because Kelly is a faculty member, she may eat at the BRC. And we all know this is true. But if it weren't true, it wouldn't matter. The argument is still cogent, because it's still a possibility that as a faculty member, she eats at the BRC, even if she doesn't. In review, there are 2 ways the premises can support the conclusion. First, through validity, which entails the truth of the premises, guarantees the truth of the conclusion, and cogency, which is the truth of the premises would make the truth of the conclusion probable. That is the first condition of what makes an argument good. The second condition of a good argument is that one must have good reason to believe in the conclusion of the argument. For example, although the earth is round, those in the past, lacking modern scientific evidence, may have justifiably believed that the earth be flat. The premise of these flat earth believers would be that sailing in a particular direction, one would either sail forever or at some point fall off the earth. People in the past have good reason for believing this conclusion, so their argument for the flat earth, which they came to through reasoning, is a good argument. The last condition of a good argument is that the argument must be non-circular. A non-circular argument means that the conclusion neither is nor is presupposed by one of the premises. In simpler terms, it means that the conclusion cannot be a premise, and the premise cannot suggest the conclusion. For example, here's a circular argument. Premise 1. Luan is a human being. Conclusion. Luan is a human being. Although the argument is valid, and there is justified belief that I am a human, it is not a good argument, because the argument could never rationally convince anyone to believe in its premise, because you already believe the conclusion. In conclusion, there are 3 conditions total in a good argument. First, the P's support the C's. The premise supports the conclusion. 2, the P's are justified. Your premises are justified. And 3, the argument must be non-circular. This means that there are 3 ways to criticize any argument, and it's important to have the tools to question the world around you.